Well, welcome to the Installer Plaza here at InstallerSHOW 2026, and it's really buzzing on the first morning. We're only an hour into the show and there are so many people around. And welcome to Top of the SCOPS, Seasonal Coefficient of Performance. We kind of added the extra S at the end. Heatpumpmonitor.org is a brilliant resource which tracks the performance of heat pump installs in real time and can put them into a table of the most efficient systems. And I'm joined by some of the engineers at the top of the table. Look at them, extraordinary bunch of people, some of them definitely. But they're going to talk us through some of their incredible installs, share best practice and explain how they prioritise system efficiency in real world applications. So starting on my first person nearest to me, tell us who you are, where you come from. It's like blind date this. Where'd you come from?
Hello, yeah, I'm Glyn from OpenEnergyMonitor.
Nice and close?
Yep.
Even closer.
Okay, great. And yeah, here today with my colleague Tristan. And yeah, together we run OpenEnergyMonitor and heatpumpmonitor.org.
Lovely. Okay, next.
I'm Richard Burrows and I'm from Mid Wales Plumbing and Heating Supplies.
I'm Damon Blakemore and I'm from Blakemore Renewables.
Newell from Newell Heating Power.
Right, well, welcome, gents. Thank you very much for joining us. Glyn, let me start with you. Can you just explain what heatpumpmonitor.org is and how it came about?
Yeah, so heatpumpmonitor.org, it's come out of the OpenEnergyMonitor project that we've been running for the past 15 years now. And the OpenEnergyMonitor project, we design, build and manufacture open source energy monitoring, hardware and software tools. And yeah, quite early on in that journey, about 10, 15 years ago, we met a gentleman called John Cantor, and he's here today. And he's got a wealth of heat pump knowledge. He's been installing heat pumps for over 50 years. He introduced us to heat pumps. He was even building his own heat pumps back in the 80s to heat swimming pools. So a real wealth of experience. And he could see the potential of monitoring heat pumps, and he installed like quite an early version of our system on some of his heat pump installs. And this is almost 10 years ago, and he was getting really good performance. SCOPS of over 4, and it was just amazing to see how well heat pumps can work. And then roll on about 5 years ago, I installed a heat pump in my own home, and my colleague Tristan did the same. And we also installed monitoring, and we were getting pretty good performance, SCOP of over 4. And at the same time, we were looking at like the official monitoring trials that were available. The data was being published, and couldn't quite understand why the performance was so low, and we weren't doing anything special. We were just simple open loop designs in normal houses. And we were talking about our data and posting it on our community forum and on Twitter and things. And it was actually an idea of one of the OpenEnergyMonitor community forum members who had an idea like, why don't you guys start a website to share this data, share your data, share because other people are contributing their monitored heat pump data. So that's how the website came about, and it's grown to, we've got almost 600 systems on the site now, and we've started selling a pre-provisioned bundle of hardware and our data logging software to make it really easy for people to install that kit and monitor their heat pumps. And it's just, grown and grown.
Brilliant. Well, thanks for that. And just the three of you, how did you hear about it? And what made you decide to use it on your own jobs? I'll start with you, Richard.
So when I fitted my own heat pump in my own house, then I was deadly keen to understand how efficient it actually was running. So what I was very mindful at the time is that manufacturers weren't quite getting their data correct, and I was looking for a system and a way of making sure that the data that we were getting off the heat pump was accurate. So when I looked at the market, I already knew Glyn, and I kind of knew the project they were running, doing obviously heat pump monitoring, and so it was no brainer for me. Just wanted to see actually what my heat pump was doing, and just ways I could tweak my heat pump to just keep making it more efficiently.
And Damon, what about yourself?
We're from a customer, Mick, who a bit of a geek himself, and we just come across Glyn and Tristan and what they were doing, and then from there just fitted it and use it quite a lot now.
Right, and Aaron?
I suppose very similar. We wanted to know how our manufacturer's data that we were getting wasn't accurate, and we needed to find somewhere to get that correct information. We came across Glyn and started installing the systems from there, and the data we're getting is unbelievable. So.
And you're all pleased with the outcome and results, I guess. Yeah. I mean, your install's at the top of the leaderboard, the three of you. So you must be pleased with that, and some of the best in the country. But can you kind of briefly explain the design and install of some of these systems?
So for me, it was about making things really simple. So try and keep
it simple.
System installation really simple, because you start overcomplicating your system design. That's one of the proven methods of having an inefficient system. So for me, I want to see the difference between if I did do it complicated. So I did actually start off with controls and everything on my system.
Right.
And then as we sort of developed my own system and going through what was there and looking at other systems as well, actually, because that's sort of the really important thing, that you can log on, see other systems and how they're performing as well. And anything they're doing slightly different to what you're doing. So a couple of the key things for me was just actually monitoring the data over a time period, making sure that like the time period was the same, so the temperatures externally were the same temperatures. So winter's always a good test for it. And then just over that time, just tweaking it until you get a really good performing heat pump system.
Aaron, you got anything to?
Yeah, so we would have been very heavily controlled systems initially, and then with the systems that kept cycling and using lots of energy, and we discovered this sort of open loop systems and less is more again. So that's where we I think that's a big thing from our point of view, is that sort of less is more, open loop, no controls.
Damon.
Yeah, just simplicity.
That's what I'm hearing a lot.
And strip it by
keeping it simple.
Yeah, just one pump, get it round. But also it showed that on mine's quite oversized. So the oversizing factor is not as important with something when it's controlled on compressor as well. We've got extra capacity for defrost, a little bit extra capacity for recovery, which we didn't kind of know until I'd accidentally oversized that one.
Yeah, I think the big thing was with the capacity for defrost, wasn't it? I think that caught a lot of engineers out, and without the data behind that, you can't actually see what was going on over a historical period. So like, how was it performing at that period of time, and what was the reasons for that?
So presumably, therefore, you would have done some adjustments to improve the performance over time.
Yeah, so for me, system volume was quite important, because my heat pump is massively oversized. So for actually my property, I actually told the installer who fitted my heat pump at the time that the MCS was way out, because I kind of knew by my own design. And
he must have loved you.
The problem was when MCS is quite a blunt tool. So when you actually start analysing the data and realising that most properties don't need anywhere near the size that they're being specified for, so then you've got to make provisions to mitigate that. So in my case was actually a massive increase in system volume, just to reduce the amount of stop-starts.
Damon, have you adjustments for yourself as well?
Yeah, usually low wing curve you'll find, because your heat losses are oversized, whether that's your air change or whether that's your values that you're using. So dropping that down, playing around with load shifting a little bit, if they've got PV batteries and open to like variable tariffs, loading or unloading at certain times of day. So there's always an adjustment. I don't think you can just walk in and fit an heat pump and walk out. Over that first 12-month period, you're always adjusting, and with OpenEnergyMonitor you can see everything. So you can see what's actually improving, what isn't improving, and what flexibility you've got in there.
And Aaron, I guess it's going to be the same for you, isn't it?
Yeah. We haven't made any tweaks at all to our system.
Is that right?
We were very fortunate from an energy consultancy background. We were able to do proper, correct heat loss without using the MCS data, and we were able to design the system correctly. Open Energy helped us confirm what we thought, and we were able to look at our system as it over the years and progresses, and if there is any wee dips we can look at. But we're very fortunate. The design from the heat loss point of view from the start was spot on.
Just if anybody's got any questions or wants to make a comment, please feel free to just put your hand up. We'll come to you with the microphone. Does anybody want any questions or? No? Oh, I thought that lady there was just about to put your hand up. No, not you. Okay. I guess it's kind of a redundant question, but how important is monitoring for the performance of the heating systems? I mean, it's crucial, isn't it?
Yeah, it's crucial. I mean, everything that you've learned, not just from that, but air changes that have been higher on heat losses that's helped bring down, the capacity of heat pump, how much actually power you're actually pulling in these cold days to go against data when the DNOs are not letting you have them or delaying it. There's just loads of evidence there that adds up in more than just monitoring. It's like invaluable.
Glyn, go on.
Because it's not just about seeing what the scope of your heat pump is. The benefit you get from monitoring is much deeper than that, because we record all the data on a 10-second data, so it's highly granular, so you can see exactly what the compressor is doing, what the flow rate is, what the flow temperature is it cycling, is it running steady state, what the Carnot efficiency is, and you can benchmark that. You can compare it with other heat pumps in a similar type of house to yours, similar make and model of heat pump, and you can see, why is my heat pump doing this when someone else's heat pump is doing that? And so it's a real wealth of information there that helps installers and heat pump users to optimize their systems and see how the heat pump is working compared with others.
Like a system health check, kind of what you can run over in a matter of seconds just by clicking what you want.
Which is great.
It's class.
And we've got tools where you can see the actual heat loss based on the heat delivered, so you can use that to benchmark how accurate you were in the heat loss calculation, how oversized the heat pump was.
Also, things like if you've got air in your system, it detects if your system's got air in it, or if you've got problems with your system. So it's sort of really easy to actually go into the data and see that very quickly for an installer.
And I guess from a customer's point of view, happy customer, because their system's being more efficient and therefore cost energy and so on and so forth.
I think it just gives customers confidence.
Yeah.
So if they can see that you're one of those installers that actually, you're proud of your work and you want to show actually what your heat pump performance is doing, it's, because some people criticise the fact that, I'm paying extra for this, but you're not actually. You're just verifying that you're doing what you say on the tin. I'd be more scared of if an installer's not fitting some sort of monitoring and not giving the customer the data behind it, actually what is the performance of their system and their design.
There's accountability.
How easy a sell is it to customers in terms of getting them on board?
Yeah, we just see what it can offer and just put it as a line item on quote. They either want it or they don't. There's plenty of videos out there where they can watch and see what it's doing.
Because one of the things is education, isn't it? Because, I want an efficient system. I don't care what you do. Just give me an efficient system. But if you've got the data to back it up, it makes it an easier sell. Go on, Glyn.
It's quite interesting. People come at the system in different ways. So sometimes it's the installer who is proud of their system and wants to put the monitoring system on the site. Where other times it's the homeowner who doesn't have maybe as much confidence as they'd like in the installer, and they're putting they want the system installed as almost like to safeguard themselves, or to, if the system doesn't work as expected, they can then show, have a quantifiable data to show that. So it can kind of work, both ways.
Are you all becoming data analysts? Maybe not.
I think it certainly helps, because I think it's too easy.
I think you said geek.
Well,
earlier,
it's too easy just to go in and put something in. Like the bad old days of boilers. You go and put boiler in, no one knows anything about it. Is it running efficiently or not? And I think with heat pumps, just because there's more of a cost behind a heat pump,
you owe it to the customer.
You actually want to verify the data, don't you? Because if you're half the COP, for instance, then you'll double the cost. So it's in your own benefit as an installer and the benefit of the customer to actually make sure your heat pump's performing,
So, Glyn, how have you seen the leaderboard progress?
Well, I mean, the most obvious thing is the number of systems on the site.
Yeah.
We've now there's almost 600 systems on the site, so it's just obviously so much more than when we started, and there's a lot more, analytics and things we can do with that. But lots of things have come out of the site that I never thought, would be possible. Well, one, I never thought we'd see a air source heat pump achieve an average performance of SCOPS of 5, which is just incredible. We've got a few systems now, Aaron's and Damon's being one of them, that have achieved over 5, and a ground source that's achieved over 6, which is just absolutely phenomenal performance that I never thought was possible, especially looking at the heat pump trial data. And the other things that have come out of the site is that Oxford University have actually published a peer-reviewed paper based on the data on the site, so that these systems can actually be used now in, it can be referenced in, academia, which I think is quite important for the, future of heat pumps, that they're not just using those, the poor performing trials.
It's good for industry as well, for people, we all bad press around heat pumps, that you can actually see what these people are doing by not doing that much. that's the key to it.
Yeah,
You don't need all these
because
extra parts, these buffers, these pumps, micros. You don't need to do that. It's been refreshing. I think it's helped change industry in a way of like design
Perception,
and yeah.
Perception. And Aaron, do you check out other installs on the leaderboard from other installers?
Yes, most definitely. You can only learn by your peers, so we find it very useful. It's we're not chasing top of the SCOPS. We're actually using it to get quality information from what the other guys are doing. We wouldn't be where we are if we weren't able to see what the rest of the guys were doing and copy them.
So how important is it for for quality engineers to share their work and advice on best practice? I mean, you're kind of all in competition in a certain way, but actually you're all there to help each other as well. How difficult is that?
I think it's a good aspect where heat pumps. Something that surprised me is that peer-to-peer between different companies. It seems everyone wants them to work and wants to get better. A little bit of competition, but you can look at another install and think, oh, that looks good. Speak to installer and see what they've done, and you're learning all the time. So they might use a different part or a different. It's good.
We actually have a group on Facebook, which is we top of the SCOPS. So it's called SCOP 5. So a few of us got together. It was set up as a bit of banter between me and Damon actually originally.
How much honesty is there on there?
No, it's got to be, because you've got to put the right data out there. If you're, do you know what I mean? If you're not in it to actually keep improving and keep trying to optimize performance amongst, you said geek before. I wouldn't go. I don't like the word geek, but
I thought it was
yeah.
you that used it. No, it's you.
But yeah, I mean, there's definitely, it's healthy competition. It's not like you're trying to cut each other's throats on this sort of thing.
And how much do you talk to each other, communicate with each other about issues and problems and challenges?
Yeah, quite a bit. Well, I mean, we've got, in the early days, not so much now, because the guys that are kind of in those groups kind of answer all their own questions, and the data does a lot of that for you. So, but in the early days, it was a lot of how are you achieving this? What are you doing different in your design? How have you got those heat pumps performing that well? And then once you do start, that's the brilliant thing about the 10-second intervals of the data, is that literally you can go on a 10-second basis through the data and actually go, right, I can kind of see the power output of that heat pump at that point, and that's how he's achieving that efficiency.
So does the Facebook group meet up from time to time? Or?
We have our own little training. Normally we have a training thing every year. Got let down this year because Kimbo decided to go on holiday, on a cruise, right bang in the middle. But yeah, it's we do meet up once a year and just try and keep learning with each other. Yeah.
And Aaron, are you on this Facebook as well?
No, they wouldn't let me in it. So.
Probably very wise. I don't know. I mean, and what are some of the most important things that installers need to consider when they're designing and installing heat pump systems to achieve performances like the ones you guys have been achieving?
Keep it simple. Make sure your heat loss is as good as it can be. It's never going to be perfect. There's an element of guessing in there anyway, but educate yourself in doing your heat loss. Make your install as good as it can be. Make sure your system's clean. Just do basics right. We're putting pipe in it, and it's not rocket science. And commission, it's a big thing. You're probably half a day commissioning, maybe 3/4 of a day. So when you're seeing people just turn them on and then leave on a Friday because they want to get home, it's you're a day more or less commissioning. That's an important part.
Friday's the worst day to commission, right?
Yeah, I was going to say always have them around on a Thursday so that they're not going to disappear.
That's what we've seen a lot from looking at the data. It's the commissioning where the most performance is either gained or lost. Because you can have a really good system installed, but if you mess up the settings on commissioning, then you're just throwing performance out the window. And it's particularly the installers who look at the data and use that to tweak the heat pump after it's being installed, maybe drop the curve a little bit. They're the heat pumps that really do perform well.
Brilliant. You mentioned about education and so on. Training accreditations. What training accreditations would you recommend for installers to get to the top of the leaderboard where you guys are? What have you done?
Kimbo's course, I think, is essential. First stage that I went. You can do e-geek course too. Mario Dodic course is good. I'd probably stay away from mainstream courses because I don't think training's not great.
No, you're not going to learn nothing on a mainstream course, right?
PowerPoint presentation. It's not good.
Not for you.
Peer-to-peer, you know, social media, I think, has been one of the biggest forms of learning, just getting in them groups, talking to other installers. Go out and see, bug an installer, ask them questions, go out, and I've had people with me just come and work for a week and whatnot, and, you know, I think that's the best way of getting it and getting it done.
Aaron, you got anything to add from your point of view?
I think some training on, you know, learning how to do your heat loss survey properly, learning U values, learning, you know, understanding how a building thermodynamic works, rather than, you know, throwing pipes in is the easy part. It's actually designing the system and getting it right, and it all starts at, you know, your air changes, your U values, you know, some training and, you know, and how to design, you know, your heat loss first and foremost, I think would be important, because all the guys can plumb systems. It's knowing how to size it correctly.
Yeah.
Customers' needs as well.
Sorry,
Like
say again.
customers' needs,
Right.
you know, and how they're going to use that system. Differences between this and boilers is it's not one system fits all. You could have two houses next door to each other, same building, and they'll have different ways of using it.
You've got quite a responsibility to give them what they need, not necessarily what they think they need. So to speak.
Yeah, it's not one size fits all. It's got to be specifically tailored and designed to that property and to that lifestyle.
That comes with a lot of experience as well, though, because
And mistakes.
and because most of the guys, this isn't their first rodeo.
Yeah.
Right, if you're new to this, you do need to try and shadow someone like Damo or someone, you know what I mean? Try and get a peer mentor that you can actually go out, see how they do it, and actually replicate that design or that you know, that theory on how to achieve high performing heat pump installs. Because like Damon said, it's not about the same heat pump in the same property every single time. It's about making sure that you're meeting the customer's needs, but also having a good design theory as well behind it. So like Damon said earlier, Kimbo's course is probably where most people start out, and then as many manufacturers courses you can do really to keep learning. So do a manufacturer's course. If they've got good training that will help you with the heat pump journey, just do all of them.
The most important thing is to be self-motivated, because as well as, you know, on the data we have seen that there is...
Well, ultimately, it's going to help you, isn't it?
What's that, sorry?
It's going to help. If you're self-motivated, do the
Exactly.
training, you're going to be better.
There's so much good information out there.
Yeah.
Just some fantastic resources. You know, the Heat Geek YouTube channels, Simon Urban Plumbers, really good YouTube channel. Because as well as professional installers, there are quite a few reasonably well-performing self-installed heat pumps on there, which shows that if someone is self-motivated, that they can, you know, it is possible for them to like pick up enough information to install a system just by, you know, using the information that's out there, and, you know, and looking at the sites to help inform that.
There's no real excuse not to self-educate in a way, is there? Because there is so much on YouTube and so on, so much out there. Although be careful what you put into ChatGPT these days. But Aaron, just changing topic. I think you said this is your first time at Installer. Is that right?
That's correct, yes.
And what's your view? Because I mean, we're an hour and 25 minutes into the show. What were you expecting when you came here?
Well, it's pretty much what I was expecting. Yeah, it's a fantastic show. Plenty of, you know, really good manufacturers kicking about. So, yeah.
Yeah. What about you guys? Old hands at the show and so on. I mean, it's just grown so much in the last 10 years or 11 years. It's extraordinary.
It's massive now, isn't it?
Yeah, maybe too big because you don't get to see everything that you want to see. And
I think
You have to plan your show.
Yeah, I think I calculated out you'd have to literally spend like 30 seconds on each stand if you were going to cover everything in the 3 days it's here, right? So you kind of got to plan your way through it quite well.
Yeah, no, fantastic. Well, you're enjoying it, and it's cool. It's cool in here. It's hot out there.
It's definitely nice in here.
Actually,
Cool by heat pumps.
yeah. I remember last year staying in the hotel. Their aircon broke down, and we said, "Well, we've got a load of engineers. Not allowed to. You only have to use ours." And he's busy, so we sweated for 3 days. Anyway, gents, thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of the show. If you've got any questions yes, there's a question here. Can I grab your microphone, please? There. Tell us who you are and where you come from first.
Rolf Hayes, WMS underfloor heating. We do a lot for...
Nice, just hold it nice and
We do a lot for more of the sort of national and bigger developments. It was mentioned about the need to get the system right for the customer and for each individual property. How would you go about doing that on like a development of, let's say, 10, 50 houses? And I guess there's an element of end user education with simplicity of controls.
that's a challenge because you don't know who's buying them. Specification, you come in. I think in that instance you just have to keep it simple. You know, depending on size of property.
You have to watch your design as well for your temperatures because you don't know who's moving in. So from a design aspect, if you design too low temperatures in certain rooms, you can't come back from that. You know. So.
Well, you mentioned as well getting commissioning right. How often would you go back to a property like that to tweak it?
Well, heat pumps that we use, we have remote monitoring, so we can change a lot remotely from home. Probably have maybe 1 or 2 visits through the year. If you fit into summer, you're always going back in winter, maybe for a bit of balance. And if you're doing it in winter, you're probably tweaking your curve in summer anyway. So yeah, I'd probably say 2 visits or 12 months and phone calls and emails. It's kind of personal service we offer, so we're always there for them when they need that.
But isn't that a business opportunity for you? Because when you've got people moving into those properties, you can say, we can offer you in 6 months' time, and sort of come back, have a look, and see if it's working for your specific needs.
Yeah, that's kind of what I expected was, you know, you'd be doing, you might commission a bunch of plots in one, you know, over a course of a week on the development as they move towards getting sold, but then you're visiting each individual customer within a sort of 6 or 12 month period to tweak them individually. That's how to get those sort of
I think that's crucial for new build. I don't think you can do it and then sell house and that system's complete. I think there needs to be a process in there that you need to go back and have that visit. That needs to become with house. That needs to be a package. Like I say, it depends on what size of house that is, but design stage, you'd probably want to just keep it open. And then if they needed to add anything else, these days you can get smart control, you know, something like passive or Avon-wise that can auto-adapt to what they want as well and learn in that building.
Have it as an add-on the purchase price. Simple.
yeah, maybe.
Or offer it free. No, never.
I think final question, how, when you're doing simplicity and minimal controls, you know, open loop and so on, how much do you find you're having to educate that end user as to what to expect from the system?
I think it kind of does it itself because you're getting comfort. You know, you're not getting heat swings. You're not wanting to turn it up or down when you find that area. When I say open loop, I still use TRVs. You still want to limit room temperatures. You know, you can have rooms at 17 and rooms at 21 next to each other. It don't always have to be all the same temperature. So as long as you've got that volume there and available for your defrost, then you're fine.
And with underfloor heating and the fact that you can't put a TRV on it?
Yeah, sometimes just an actuator as a limiter, you know. That way we use that quite often.
The thermostat just closes the valve, it doesn't fire the heat pump?
No, just literally just shutting that room off. You know, you've got solar gain, if you've got it in your kitchen, you've got heat gains, you've got heat from people, you've got electrical equipment. So there's a lot of additional stuff that you can't take into account for your heat loss unless you're doing something like your passive at that point. But none of us are passive designers.
So. No, that's good. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks, Rolf. Thank you. Anybody else got questions or comments? Did you want to make a question? I'll give a question. Here we go.
Hi.
Hi.
My name is Alicia. We are an installation company. We do heat pumps as well. And I just wondered what, for you guys, the most important data is that you get off heat pump monitor.
What's the most important piece of data? For me, it's that the heat pump's performing as you'd expect it to. So that can be flow rate or, if you've got your curve set, you're actually achieving the temperatures that you've set on that curve. Just make sure you're having for me, it's like a double check. Do you know what I mean? That you are actually getting what the heat pump's supposed to be giving you, for me.
I think it all combines. I don't think you could pick one piece of information that's more important. It's more being able to look at that system and knowing that it's working right, and with every aspect to that and what you can choose.
Without monitoring.
It's just a clarification that your install has been designed right, installed right, and commissioned correctly, and it's running as you would like it to.
Because without monitoring, it's really hard to see exactly what the heat pump is doing, especially because you can't stay in a customer's property for an extended period of time to watch what it's doing. The monitoring lets you see what it's done over the past week. Check the weather compensation is working correctly. Check it's running nicely and not excess cycling, and it really helps with adjusting the commissioning settings to making sure you've got the right curve set, the correct flow rate. Yeah, you can get a lot of information from it.
Plus, a lot of manufacturers' data as well isn't accurate, so their own built-in monitoring isn't always correct. So
is that right?
Yeah, we found with Wiesmann, they don't monitor pump power internally, they only monitor compressor efficiencies. So the one that were 500% were like 640% on Wiesmann's monitoring, and we found out, and they didn't know that until that point. We actually told them that you're not monitoring this power, so it can be, it's not great, some monitoring, is it?
You might want to hang around, because at 12 o'clock talk to Valent Glowworm about their first heat pump, so it's going to be quite interesting. Guys, look, did you want to say something else there? No. Thank you so much, Glyn. Thank you very much to all of you. And Richard, your shirt is. Where did you get that from?
This is the new pirateheatandsupplies.com line that we're selling. You know, so.
Are you? You've probably not sold any yet, have you?
Not yet. No, it's a trial piece.
Yeah, I can see why. Look, thanks very much indeed to Damon and Aaron as well. Thank you. You're at the show for all 3 days?
Yep.